Hello my loves, it's Liz Ann here from High Vibes Life, helping you make the rest of your life the best of your life. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. In this video, I want to talk to you about the futility of trying to take care of other people's emotions. So what do I mean when I say taking care of other people's emotions? I'm talking about when you are worried and concerned about other people's needs and how they feel to the exclusion of your own needs and how you feel. And most of the time when we have our focus on other people and their needs and how they feel, we are not paying attention to our own needs and how we feel. So some examples of this might be perhaps you want to have a get together, you want to meet up with two of your good friends, and these two friends are really uplifting to you and you haven't visited with them for a while, and maybe there's a particular feeling or need or just something that you want out of this meetup. But as you go to plan this, you think of this friend over here that might hear about these friends, you getting together with these friends. And so you start thinking, well, I probably should invite her. And then when you think about inviting her, then you think, well, if I invite all three of these and all three of us are getting together, and these other friends will probably feel bad because they'll think we're having this big get together. And it just goes on and on. So you invite more people, and then you end up having this big ordeal. And perhaps you don't even end up going or to the place you wanted to go to because everybody has differing opinions. You don't have the conversation you really were hungering for. And it all began with you getting outside of your original plan, which you wanted to meet with these two friends that you really wanted to connect with. And consequently, because you didn't keep that goal in mind and keep your need in mind and keep your desire in mind and put it out here somewhere, none of that was fulfilled for you. You weren't able to connect in the same way. There was too many people there. That might be one example. Another example could be you're invited to a party, and perhaps it's a party from a family member or a good friend, but you don't know most of the people there, or you don't get along with a lot of the people there, or you're just tired and don't really want to go, or you're an introvert and hate those type of things. There's a lot of different reasons where you might check inside and feel like, oh, that just sounds so exhausting or so stressful to me. And yet you go outside of yourself and you think, and you start contemplating everybody else's emotions and how they're going to feel and what they're going to think. And you make your decision based on their emotions to the exclusion of your own emotions. Perhaps somebody is having a really difficult time. Maybe they're in a car accident or somebody died in their life, and you are exhausted because you're having a difficult time. Maybe you have some stresses in your family life that nobody really knows about because it wasn't as big of an incident as maybe an accident or a death. But you're having a stressful time and you're exhausted and you've been working, and yet you feel like if you don't maybe go make a meal and take it to that person, then people are going to think you don't care. And so in spite of needing to take care of your own emotions and to rest and to do the things you need to do for yourself, you go home from work and you prepare a meal and you go over there, and then by the time you get home from all of that, you are just depleted, 100% depleted. These are more common ways that we are taking care of other people's emotions. But anytime, in any situation, no matter what it is, when you are worried more about other people's comfort, other people's needs, and other people's emotions and feelings to the exclusion of your own, then you are in a position that is going to break you down spiritually, mentally, and even your health. So why do we do this? Why is it that people have this tendency, a lot of people, not everybody, but have this tendency to worry about and care about and think about and meet the needs of others before their own? The answer can be usually found to any unhealthy way of living. The roots can usually be found in our formative years in society, not necessarily just blaming parents, although parents could play a big part in it, but a lot of times parents are that way because they were taught that way. So it's not this blame game going on, but there are roots that start usually in our formative years. Some of us were blamed as children when other people didn't feel well. For example, in my own case, I had a mother who was very tired and very overworked and had a lot of needs that she wasn't meeting for herself. But she had this tendency to tell us, would you kids please go play, get out of here, get out from under my feet. Or she would say things like, I'm so sick of you kids, and I wish I wouldn't have had so many kids. And it kind of put this projection upon myself that I was responsible for her misery and the way she felt. Another thing is that usually when people are miserable, like our parents or our older siblings or whatever, they lash out on the other people around them. And when you're young and impressionable, a lot of times you can start again to believe that it's your fault, and also that you need to take care of these people or try to do whatever you can, because otherwise they're going to yell at you, or they might even physically harm you or bully you or do something that is very unpleasant and very maybe scary. So we start to develop this thing of, okay, I got to figure out how to keep them happy and how to make them feel better so that this doesn't escalate to that extent. And then another reason that we do this is because a lot of times when we have been in positions where perhaps we invited somebody to a party and they didn't come, we've felt really bad about it. Or when we've seen a couple of our friends get together and we wondered in our own selves, why weren't we invited, or what were they doing? And we felt hurt. And so we don't want to cause other people to feel that. So we project that into our own situations, and consequently we override our own emotions and needs to take care of other people's. But does this work? Is this compassionate? And is this helping our society? No. So now I want to talk about the results of not meeting your own needs and really selfishly putting yourself first and your needs and your desires. And I want to talk about the results of trying to take care of other people's needs and emotions over your own, before your own. The first thing it does is it fosters codependency. And codependency, we hear that word thrown around a lot, but at its basic description, it is the inability to be able to function in a healthy way with our own personal autonomy without somebody else. So we need that person to make us feel good or to feed something in us. We have no way of doing that for ourselves. And codependent means they have a need that we're meeting, and we have a need that they're meeting, and it's usually this intertwining of frustration because sometimes those needs aren't met because they can't meet that need at that time, and we have no idea how to meet it for ourselves. And so it can be really, really draining and unhealthy. At times it feels great, but a lot of the times, and especially as your relationship develops, it can be very miserable, and you feel like you can never be free or completely step into your own person, that this person always has to be kind of intermingled with you. The second result is that we foster a belief within ourselves that other people matter more than we do, that we are not as important and our needs are not as important as other people's needs. And we don't even realize we're doing that. A lot of times we feel good about helping somebody else. It feels good on some level to go out and to help somebody, but our own needs get neglected. Then a lot of times we can get resentment built up because they're neglected and nobody's meeting our needs because we're not meeting our needs, and then nobody else is running to our help and meeting our needs. We can start building up resentment and frustration with that. You also are fostering a belief that other people are incapable of meeting their own needs, emotional needs. So you're basically putting a message out to these people that I will take care of your emotions. I am responsible. You're giving that message to them as well as to yourself. And you're basically, when you do that, you're telling them at some energetic level they're not capable of it, that they are not capable of recouping from and figuring out and moving past maybe feeling hurt that they weren't invited somewhere, or a disappointment that you didn't show up at their party, or whatever it is, that they're not capable of taking care of their own emotions. So you're basically in that, the result is there's some disempowerment that you are aiding in the other person. One of the most detrimental results of this is it trains us away from our own internal GPS, our own internal guidance system, which is primarily how we feel. So instead of listening within and saying, how does this make me feel? And allowing that to guide us of whether or not we do something, we shut that down. And that is the primary way to be guided through your life in a very healthy way. So when you've shut down your internal GPS system, you now are going to need outside reinforcement and outside voices and things from outside of you to help you be able to know how to navigate through life. It essentially enslaves us. It makes us the slave of other people's emotions and other people's needs, and instead of us having choices, we give up, we forfeit our choices to the needs and the wants and the desires of other people, trying to forerun it, to head off their, maybe feeling bad, or to make them feel better, or whatever. We are enslaving ourselves to them instead of living a life of freedom and choice according to our own wants and desires. When we do this, this leads to a loss of a sense of self and who we are at our core, because we are so focused on other people. And when we do this, we become depressed because your needs are not being met. Your wants and your desires, your feelings and how you feel is not being honored. And you run out of energy, you feel depressed. Many people even end up committing suicide when they take this too far. Some of our most famous people that we absolutely love have committed suicide, like I think Chef Bourdain. I don't know if I said his name right. Forgive me if I didn't. But he committed suicide and people loved him. He was such a friendly person. But you have to ask yourself, was that friendliness and that way of honoring and meeting and dishing out for other people all at the expense of his own wants and desires and needs? Who knows? Maybe perhaps he was sick of being a chef. Maybe he just wanted a different avatar for a while, but didn't feel like he would get the love, believed that he would get the love that he deserved if he didn't, continue on with what he was famous for. And we've all heard and known of people that were really popular that nobody understood. Everybody loved them. Why did they take their life? And perhaps the answer right there is in their popularity. Everybody liked them. Why? Was it because they always were making sure that they were likable, that they were not hurting anybody's feelings, that they were doing the right thing at the expense of doing what feels right to them? So I would like to go back to our formative years again, because this is where it begins and this is where it needs to be healed. Sometimes we need to take some time and write down what it meant to you to meet other people's needs as a child. What were the things that made you run off after and do something to please somebody else? What was the motivation behind it? Was that you were seeking their love and their attention, or seeking to pacify them so they didn't get angry at you? Or was it just because out of the joy of loving them? Because there is a huge, vast difference. Because we can do things for other people to make them feel happy and to bring joy to them, but if it's not from a place of joy and love, and it's coming more from a place of obligation and worrying about how they feel and taking care of their needs, which they need to learn how to do for themselves, then you're going to have a completely different result. Because of my upbringing, which I have shared many times here, was so steeped in dysfunction and abuse, I learned early on to shut down any resemblance of knowing what I loved, wanted, needed, and desired. I was not a kid that grew up thinking, this is what I'm going to be when I grow up, and this is what I love, and this is the color I love, and this is what I love to do, and this is what I didn't have any of that in the petri dish, so to speak, of the environment that I was raised in. It was, you focus on everybody else and you make sure that you are pleasing everyone else. And it was a matter of survival for me, and a matter of hoping to get some kind of love, and a matter of not being bullying, and so many things. And because of this, I have had to really, really retrain myself to listen inside. And as I have practiced this, it has not happened overnight, and I still work on it on a daily basis. As I have practiced this, I have become more solid in who I am. And in the beginning, it was really difficult because I had no idea who I was or what I wanted or what I was feeling or what I had no ability. I wasn't tuned into my GPS at all. I didn't have any idea what it sounded like or how to fine tune anything to understand what I needed. So it's taken me a lot of really working on it, a lot of training. And as I've tuned in, what I have found is a lot of times people get angry at me. They take it wrong, or for whatever reason, they're used to me taking care of their emotions and taking care of their feelings. They're not used to me standing up for myself. They're not used to me saying no. They're not used to me not worrying about how they feel. And it's irritating to the people that I have become codependent with in my life. It can be very frustrating and irritating to them because it upsets their world and what they're used to, the codependency, what they're used to going to soothe, their irritable emotions. So, but in the long run, I've realized that I am not helping anybody because I am not helping them to realize that they are perfectly capable of figuring this out just as much as I am. And the way they do it is just like I'm doing it, tuning into their own heart and listen to their own needs and meeting their own needs. And when we're all doing that, then we can get together, we can really enjoy one another's company, we can gift one another at times, but never feel like obligated or like we have to do this for one another, which again just enslaves us and takes us away from who we are as a person, and we can't blossom out and be all that we're meant to be when we are focused on everybody else. Have a good day.